Welcome to Emery on the Move. Darnell Radford here with my trusty travel producer, Woodsy. We are here in Edinburgh, Scotland for the Edinburgh Festival Fringe. I can't wait to dig into this crazy thick Fringe guidebook featuring over 3,800 productions and events. Stay with us here on Rep Radio and on Broad Street Review podcast. For August, it's all Edinburgh Festival Fringe. Did you know that artists come from around the world and even our hometown of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to entertain, engage, and inspire cultural enthusiasts from all over the globe? I'm going to catch up with a few performers and attendees that made it over the pond. Maybe you'll recognize a few voices along the way. So ride with us. Emery is on the move. Today on the podcast, we meet with Samuel Morrison, a New York City comedian whose production Hello Daddy is here on stage in the Just the Tonic section of offerings in Edinburgh Festival Fringe. So here's my conversation with Samuel Morrison for Hello Daddy. Welcome to Rep Radio. I'm your host, Darnell Radford. Today I'm in my temporary office at Fringe Central on the University of Edinburgh campus for Edinburgh Festival Fringe. And yesterday I had a short conversation with a comedian from New York, and halfway through it I said, why are we not recording this? Well, my schedule was filled and I had to work some things around. So we're sitting here with New York comedian Samuel Morrison, whose production Hello Daddy is debuting.
Yes.
Here at Edinburgh Festival Fringe. So Samuel, welcome to Rep Radio.
Thank you for having me and for switching around your schedule so that I could get in
here. Yeah,
here.
No problem. I wanted to create a gap at the end just in case some things I hadn't planned for came up. So I'm glad we were able to make this work. So I had a chance to experience your show, and it was a lot of fun. And through the whole thing, I'm just like, I do have questions. And you just missed my partner, who actually grew up in Syracuse.
Oh, no way.
When you mentioned that you were from Ithaca, I said, he
Sure.
would probably relate to some of this stuff too.
Yeah.
But tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm 24. I grew up in Florida. I went to school up in Ithaca. And I started doing comedy like 3 years ago. And so that's what I do back in the States. Mm-hmm. I tour and I do a lot of colleges, and I play at New York City comedy clubs. And I write for, I'm writing for a new TV show on Bravo. Is this loud enough?
Yes.
Your adorable little owl is so far away, and I don't know.
He's
good. Going to pick it up.
And he picks us both up, and I got a meter on this side.
Gorgeous. Yeah, so I'm writing for a new sort of comedy dating game show on Bravo.
Cool.
That's very fun. And I'm at Edinburgh Fringe. And who knows why, you know?
Yeah, but you're here.
I I have lots of reasons why. They change every day.
Yeah. When you entered into college, did you study theater?
No. Yes. No. Who knows?
Sounds like a liberal arts degree.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I came in being like, I'm going to study government. And I did, actually. I double majored in government and performing and media arts.
Okay.
But I can't tell if I wanted to major in government because of pressure from my family to major in that. And because at no point after being at Cornell did I think, I should go into government. So,
yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed the classes, but I did not, it was not my passion. I don't know what the better verb is than enjoy that I did experience in theater. And that's what I did. I took a lot of theater classes, but also, I mean, that was reflected in how I spent my time outside of classes, because I was always doing plays and I got really involved with this local theater group called Civic Ensemble, and they're really cool. They do like these community-based documentary plays, and I love doing that. Yeah.
Cool. So you make the move to New York. When did you fall into the comedy improv scene, or how did you get into comedy?
So, I mean, I was doing it a little bit in college, and I came here for one summer here to New York City for one summer. Where are we? I came to New York City for one summer to like, and did a bunch of open mics, and that was sort of simmering in me over 2 years. And I studied abroad my fall semester of senior year, and for some reason studying abroad made me have the decision like, oh, I need to try stand-up and just see what happens for at least, my thing was I'll do it for at least 2 years and see what, and quickly within like 6 months I realized not just that this is what I wanted to do and that I was meant to do, but also that it was easier to do than I thought. You don't know that there are like professional comedians and you're meeting people who it's their job or are wildly successful and that you're in the same rooms as them, and that sort of made it possible in my mind.
Yeah. I feel like there are people listening out there who could definitely relate to this, that there may be people in your life that when you engage them, they say, you're funny, you should do comedy, or you should do stand-up.
I don't actually think so. I mean, I was always such an annoying little kid. Like, I was the class clown. I don't think I was the funniest one in class, though. I was like the second funniest, you know? And maybe that's why I have this need for attention every single night, because I was not the funniest. And so maybe now I'm like, I'll prove them with a career over 2 decades of college. Like, it's insane. Who knows why I do this? But, I mean, sure, I sort of always, I don't know, I think sometimes, I'm not very good socially, but I've gotten good on stage. I'm more comfortable on stage than I am one-on-one.
Yeah. Are you Samuel Morrison, the character comedian on stage, or are you Samuel Morrison on
I just
stage?
had a kick-ass conversation with my friend Zach about this last night, and we're both stand-up comedians. So no, when we walk on stage, we don't like have a character that we put on. But what you do when you're a comedian is you develop a distinct, unique comedic voice, and that is a weird process because you have to learn how you are funny.
Yeah.
And you learn that by getting affirmation from audiences, and you kind of manipulate yourself so that you can get more laughs from the audience. But by that process, you also have to be inherently yourself, and it has to be authentic, because if it's not authentic, people read through that. And so you're like creating alternative personalities that are yourself but funnier. And how true to yourself are those? I mean, I don't think you would. I think you're having a conversation with me now. I don't think you would see me on stage and be like, "Oh, he acts very different." But if I went on stage right now or at any point and didn't engage in that, I guess, comedic voice, it wouldn't be interesting because I'm not as interesting off stage. On stage, I think it would be boring.
Yeah.
I guess also, I mean, this is such an all over the place answer, but you do sort of, especially here, because you're doing it like an hour every single day, sometimes you're really fucking tired. And sometimes you're energized and you think you're going to get famous at any second. and you can sort of, it's fun to lean into those and pretend to be somebody that maybe you haven't performed as over the past 2 years, and just play in a world where, like, maybe you do say words very slowly tonight, and what's that like? But it's still you. Are you pretending then? Are you authentically yourself? Is this just an alternative? Anyway, I'll have this identity crisis later, but I have been thinking about this and struggling with it a lot myself.
I think I can relate to that mindset, because I do think when I hit record, there is an elevated version of me.
Yeah, exactly.
That comes out, and I also know that if I'm talking about general theater, which is my bread and butter, then I'm more in my my radio tone, and I'm my discovery mode. But then sometimes I'm sitting across the table from who I consider to be an equal in terms of like my personal life as well. And then I notice that I change a little bit as well. Like, I feel like whenever I talk about LGBTQ content, then there's a part of me that is more my authentic self.
Yeah.
And I think it's just because I'm not the talent, even though I am being recorded, because this is about you. But there's a little bit more of a level playing field when it's personal, when there's more of a personal connection.
Absolutely. And I mean, I've also done that thing where I'm like networking and trying to meet somebody, and then I don't realize that I'm like trying so hard until I turn to my friend Ashley, who I've known for 6 years, and that we've gone on road trips together, and I've peed in front of her, and I'm just like, oh my god, I'm so tired, I want to go out and get it's like sometimes you don't even know that you're in that headspace until you have another sort of signifier to let you know that you are.
So tell us about Hello Daddy.
Hello Daddy is about having sex with other people's dads. It is it's I wonder, this is funny, I've been asked this question a lot. I wonder how much it's going to change over the Fringe as I performed it, and it's become so much a part of my bones. Just got a weird text. Hello Daddy is pretty much a coming of age story about me finding confidence in having weird sex and kinky different kinds of sex with fat old gay men. I think that is actually probably the most accurate tagline. There's sexier ones, but
was there a resistance in sort of owning this interest at first?
Oh yeah. Oh my god, of course. You're attracted to I know this is going to sound so terrible, but it's almost like
we're in a safe space.
Yeah, well, I don't know who's listening to your. I don't know your demographic, dude. Could be a bunch of high school bullies, and I'm in trouble. No, I can tell that you're not from your glasses.
I know, that's why I wear them. I can't see out of them. They're way out of prescription. I just keep them on just so I look
just so gay
harmless.
People feel comfortable.
Yes.
Yeah, good.
We're disarmed.
Yeah.
He's wearing the Warby Parker hot suit. It's fine.
The greatest safe space in America.
Yes.
Warby Parker.
They're like, he can't be. He can't be here to rob me.
He lives in Brooklyn. He's fine. Okay. Oh yeah. Now back to the weirdest part of my show. So yes. I mean, yeah, you're attracted to disgusting things. You think there's something wrong with you, right? I mean, if you wanted to have sex with this adorable little owl, sincerely, you wouldn't tell anyone until you found a community of people who wanted to have sex with this stuffed animal owl. Yeah, I made it weirder than it had to be, but that's the point. Is like,
it's a furry community.
I didn't tell anyone. I mean, I think it was harder to come out as attracted to fat old people than it was as gay.
So, I'm always interested to know how a comedian comes up with a set, I guess. Is this a set? Because this is more long form, and it is stand-up.
Yeah.
But it's an hour. How do you come up with an hour?
Yeah.
And so as I was sitting there experiencing your piece, I'm catching the general story that could have been detached from the piece altogether. It's like, so I met this guy at a bar once.
Yeah.
And you can tell that story completely independent from this show.
Sort of, but it also goes off into all these different I don't assume your base is gonna come to Edinburgh, but I won't spoil it for when
Some
it
of
gets to
them are here.
Netflix. Right.
Yeah.
So it goes off into these fantasies. So you actually do need some sort of marker to separate them. But it is a story that it is intersected with stand-up, and it lives on its own without that. Although at the end they do combine in that the professor and Seth Rogen are the same character, and that is hidden from the audience until the end. Unless you just are listening. But no, if you remember the professor and Seth Rogen are the same, you're still going to have no idea what the fuck is going on. It's actually a good pitch for the show.
Yeah.
What's Hello Daddy about? Well, the professor and Seth Rogen are the same character.
Yeah.
They're like, what the fuck is this
Seth
about?
Rogen's in this thing? All right. Well, he's a major focal point.
Yeah. He's actually kind of what the show's about.
Yeah.
I do get married to Seth Rogen.
So when did you first perform Hello Daddy?
I'm sorry, I didn't answer your question. I just riffed around it. The way that I created
crafting
Yeah.
piece, yes.
Well, what I learned is that European comics and American comics do it completely separately.
Yeah.
So if you are, this is just what I've been told, but if you are like a London-based comic, you build a show for Edinburgh, and they're like shows. They're not like stand-up bits that you put together. Like American stand-up specials are like bits that you then find the way that they come together, but UK shows are like theater narrative shows. You figure out what it's about, and then you build a show into it.
Yeah.
And so I did a little bit of both. I created, I mean, I don't have access to stage time like UK comics, and so I couldn't. Well, I guess I did eventually once I started headlining clubs and colleges. But still, when you headline clubs and colleges, it's they don't want a story. In the clubs that I have headlined, they would not accept Hello Daddy because it's not just pure punchline. They need a punchline every single minute. So I created this show 2 minutes at a time, bit by bit, at New York City venues. And then I tried to put them together when I had longer sets as much as possible. And then I had to produce the show to see what it looked like and put all those cafe scenes together and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I did not build it like you are traditionally supposed to. But at a certain point, like a year ago, I knew that I was doing this show, and I figured out the structure vaguely and started writing stand-up into it rather than just writing what I was interested in and piecing them all together.
I seriously thought you said... I seriously thought you were going to say, so I didn't build it like Beckham, I just... You know, so I always find... So I feel like
Bend
I
it
could
like
be...
Beckham?
Yeah, but it's like build it, bend it like Beckham.
All right.
So I always... so that's always the thing for me, because I can be humorous in a crowd or in a group of people.
Sure.
Because it's relational and it's in the moment, so I can hear what we're saying and find something witty to say. Does that make me a comedian? No, not necessarily. Right. But you can be funny, and sometimes I think that's what piques my curiosity about it, because it's like if you can do that, you can probably turn that into something.
Yeah.
That ability to kind of think quickly like that, but it may not necessarily be, oh, you should be a comedian.
I think that the most important thing for a comedian is the ability to write. I think there's a lot of comedians that don't have any sort of performance riffing, and they would tell you that. Yeah. But they're good writers, and that is what they fall back on. What is funny is sometimes you need that. Like, for example, the show last night. It was, the crowd was just not giving you anything. You had to work for everything. And they didn't like jokes. Yeah. And some crowds don't. And what that usually means, in my experience, is that they've seen so many shows that they've now witnessed just joke structure so much and are weary of it and just literally tired of it. But they liked riffs. When I would go off script, they were more interested, even though the jokes were worse. But just recognizing what's happening in the moment and being present,
Yeah.
they were more interested in. But unfortunately, I had a story to tell.
Yeah. Well, so I felt like so experiencing last night kind of reminds me of if I'm at home consuming comedy.
Yeah.
Like Netflix has a lot of comedy on it now.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm sitting there watching, and the punchline comes, this audience laughs, but I don't.
Right.
And it doesn't mean I didn't find that funny.
Sure.
It just means no one's here, so I don't have to show them that I get it.
Sure.
And I did feel like, because you did mention earlier that the European structure is a little bit different than the American structure. And I thought that this audience expected to be told a story, but didn't realize they had to participate.
I don't know what... I last night's audience was just by far my quietest audience.
And it was a good crowd, too. You know?
I don't think that because I've had 18 shows, and they've all been... So I've had
in terms of the seats filled versus seats empty.
Oh, sure.
It was a good house.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you had a good house.
It was like 25?
Yeah. Which I think is good for 5 o'clock.
All right.
I mean, there's a lot of... I mean, literally outside of the venue, you're being inundated with a ton of things, and the fact that we were able to find it.
Sure.
Like going down a stair and then going up a ramp,
and
passing a street performance.
And I'm doing this thing that I've been constantly trying to stop doing, where I know, or I have expectations of myself, and I know what my experience has been in. Okay, so it's all I'm saying is, like, I know when I'm saying a joke at a show and it's a punchline, I know exactly how much laughter that usually gets from a good audience, from a bad audience, from a just a quiet audience, and so I expect that in my head. And when they subvert that expectation, they don't know that I know that they should have laughed more, and nobody else knows that. So for me to say, comment something like, "You guys should have laughed more than that," is not does not make any sense to them. It only makes sense to me because I have all this data in my head, and you have to recognize that's not how it works on the outside. And I think the same thing is happening right now, where it's like I have all this data in my head of bigger audiences, better audiences, but you don't know that, and you had a different experience of the show. And so I need to personally work on not qualifying that and being like, let the show be what it is.
Yeah.
On, last night in that room with those people, and not have the need to qualify it and be like, no, but it's different usually, and it's okay. That's what it was.
I think I might be way more optimistic than most, too, because I'm on the side of promoting and building awareness more than criticism.
Sure.
And so I can see the value. And I can see that, okay, a couple of these jokes just didn't resonate with parts of the audience.
Yeah.
But other ones did.
Yeah.
But you have a structure in place, so you can't just say, oh, so that's what you want to hear.
Yes.
So let me give you more of that.
And that's what's different about comedy club sets. There's a couple of things that are different. One is that they're smaller. If I get a bad audience, I do it for 5 minutes. If I have to go do hacky road jokes or riffs just to get through it, I will. But here, if I don't like the audience, I still have to tell them my fucking journey, And I don't like doing that to people that I don't like. And that's been the biggest struggle, is that, like, I don't know, I've just hit such highs and such lows here because some audiences have been so enthusiastic, like, really. Like, some of the most enthusiastic audiences I've ever had, and it's sold out, and people are so excited to be there. And then I had that for like 4 or 5 days, and I felt invincible, massive ego trip. And then the next 3 or 4 days were just for some reason, quiet, weary, sometimes heckly, sometimes even actively uninterested people, and you have to. It's just you have to figure out as an artist when in those moments, those are the moments you're like, why am I doing this? You know, like, and you have to go back to like, it's not to make people. It's not to just like entertain people. Mm-hmm. There's more there, and the fact that specific people don't jibe with it is more than okay. And it's just you have to remind yourself that constantly.
Yeah. Well, I've been saying that there are, in my opinion, there are three main things that an audience goer is looking for when they attend a production. They're looking for entertainment, they're looking to be entertained, they're looking to be educated or validated. And so you're automatically going to lose the validation if the audience is not interested in bears.
Yeah.
So there goes the validation.
Well, I don't know if it's not interested in bears, because I think you can relate to the story no matter where you're coming from. Mm-hmm. But if they are unable to, if they are unable to relate to that because they think that it is a weird or unnatural thing, then they are not going to feel validated.
Yeah. So there are elements of your show where you talk about lady bits, and there are some gays who are just like, I can't.
Yeah.
La 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 la. This is not about me.
Yeah. Right.
And they would just shut down because this is like the terrain. It's like I came here so I could be as far removed from. A talk about lady bits.
And I opened my show with it. But there weren't any gay men in the show last night, so it was fine.
Well, there were groups.
Were there?
So, well,
there was a lot of old people last night.
I've been saying to my partner here, I was like, it's really hard to spot the gays.
Yeah.
In New York, you're like, I always make a joke where it's like, he a gay, he a gay. You can point them out, but like here, it's like, oh, I just saw them hold hands. Okay.
Yeah.
But they're all wearing skinny jeans, and they're all,
Well,
there is sort of a costume that everyone has on today.
Yeah. There is also there's a lot of families here and tourists here. And so I think that adds to the game.
Yeah.
And then there's like straight families are so easy to pick out.
Yeah. Oh my God, if a family happens upon Hello Daddy.
Oh no, I literally won't allow it. I say, I don't want kids in there.
Your child has to leave. We'll give you a
It's not because I don't think the kid won't like it. It's because everyone then looks at the kid and is uncomfortable for the kid.
Yeah. True. So, hecklers.
Yeah.
How do you deal with hecklers?
You just have to have it happen to you a ton, and it has. And I don't care.
Like, is it your instinct to shut them down or move past it?
I always shut them down. Just because I enjoy it. And oftentimes a heckler can... You know what? A heckler would have been good for last night. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Because if somebody heckled me, then I could have gotten mad at them, and then the whole audience would have come together on a side together.
Yeah. And you can keep calling back. I mean, you can find ways to call back to them, and then you make them part of the show.
Sure.
It's like, hey, you wanted to be on stage, so here you go.
Sure.
I'm gonna keep just like, he looks a little bit like you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Only he was way bigger. So when you're not on stage, what are you doing?
Oh God. Thinking about being on stage.
Because everyone in New York is part of the freelancers unions.
Yeah, exactly. Great question. This is going to be my doom, where not for I can come up with a fine answer, but like every time, like I'm asked that question, I'm like, oh no, I'm not a person. I'm a joke machine. What do I do? I like having sex. I have a boyfriend. we travel, but when we travel, it's usually because I'm performing there. I go and I hang out with my grandma in Rockland County sometimes. That's fun. Do you mean, like, do I read? Am I literate? Like, do I have interesting qualities about me? Nothing. I use Instagram. I play, I do very much enjoy playing basketball every Sunday in a league. And I don't love reading. I do it sometimes before I go to bed, but that's mostly like I try really hard to not watch Netflix.
Yeah.
And read instead. But when I'm, on a trip somewhere, I get into books.
Yeah.
You know Big Fish?
Big Fish?
Yeah. I just read that when I was like, oh my God, my show's Big Fish.
John August?
A little bit,
Oh, cool. Yeah, because I always have to... I stop short when someone asks me that, too, because I'm constantly thinking about what I can produce on the podcast and trying not to call it content.
Sure.
Trying to, really find organic conversations to have. But I actually do consume a lot of podcasts as well.
Yeah.
And then because that format is digestible for me, I tend to consume more audiobooks. But in order to do that, I need space. So I do take long walks and clear my head, and that's where I get a ton of ideas.
Oh, you mean you literally take walks?
Yeah.
And when you take those walks, do you go, okay, now it's time for me to come up with podcast ideas?
No, I'm just walking, and whether it's a news podcast or there's like a combination of news, self-improvement, or pure entertainment, or just topical but not news. So there's a good variety of stuff. So it's depending on what podcast comes up next. It might actually trigger something in my brain to think in a different direction. So my notes app is almost to the ready, just in case something comes up. And then I might jot down a line or two into a new note so that this will be enough. I kind of feel like Dumbledore when he's in his chambers where he takes the memories and he puts them into the thing because
that's really funny.
It's like I gotta put it there because if not, I feel like there's some gold in here.
Yeah.
But at the moment I don't have time to unpack it. So
Sure.
let me just process this and I'll drop it into a note.
Yeah.
And then if we say something about refresh, I can probably do a search for refresh and find a note where refresh was in the subject.
Yeah.
Was in the content.
Yeah.
And then I can maybe build on that note
Yeah.
later on. So that's sort of my workflow. But yeah, clearing my head to not think about it allows me to have more clarity.
Right.
When I'm ready.
Yeah, I do the same thing. It's different ways, but I think it's harder for me to clear my head. A lot of time when I go and try to clear my head, it's filled with anxieties and worries and other things about the thing that I should be clearing my head talking from.
Yeah.
Just saw a guy with another sweater, so I'm gonna have to throw it away. I have that same one.
I know,
and
it's
it
like...
fits him better. God damn it.
You should be like, I hate you.
Yeah.
For what? You know what you did.
You know what you did. Top man, Soho.
Exactly. Yeah, when I bought this hat, I had to tell everybody, I was like, so I bought this hat from Top Man. So I saw this hat in Top Man.
Yeah. And
after I stopped laughing, I bought it.
That's funny.
See, I've got moments.
You've got moments. Write it down. The Tonight Show booker doesn't book. He books based off scripts.
Yeah.
He doesn't want clips.
Yeah,
it's literally the words.
He wants to see if you can engage us for a moment of time.
No. I mean, you have to send him your 5-minute set. Oh, like a late night set is like 5 minutes you perform on the Tonight Show.
Oh, okay.
And when you submit for that, you send he wants scripts.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's just the writing.
Yeah.
And that felt relevant.
Oh, cool.
Because Anyway, never mind.
No, good to know.
Yeah, good to know for when you submit to... Cool.
Because, you don't always know how people make it onto a stage.
Yeah.
It's not just, we got a stage and a happy hour, or we got a stage and a drink special, trying to get the ladies in tonight, Whoever the ladies are for this evening.
What? I think you're talking about drag.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But, we never know what was the sort of road to this microphone in this moment. So when you see that, when you experience it, it's there. So this piece, it's undeniable that there's a gay comedian on stage.
Sure.
Is that a category you're in, or if whenever someone asks you, do you just say,
am I a gay comedian?
Yeah.
I mean, unfortunately, because that's what people are in. That's how I wouldn't be able to perform in Provincetown the past 3 years if I didn't say I was a gay comedian.
Yeah.
So that's how I have to sell myself sometimes, and that's fine. I don't mind it. I know that everything that I do won't be gay.
Mm-hmm.
Bits and I have a lot of material about not being gay that I use when I headline and stuff like that. And there's even stuff in the show that isn't gay. But in terms of the label gay comedian, I don't worry about it because I know I'm more than that. And I will produce other work more than that. And I don't think people who follow me and are invested in my career are going to not come to the shows because it's less gay.
Yeah.
I really don't think that'll happen.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah, but I don't put weight on it.
Mm-hmm. So, based on the experience here so far at Edinburgh Festival Fringe, have you identified things that would make this experience easier for you as an artist? And so I've asked every artist this because there's some newbies, there's some veterans, and I think it's helpful for people to know, now that I'm in it, now that I'm in the thick of it, here's something I wish I had had ahead of time, or wish I had had going through, whether it's self-care, whether it's promotion, what have you.
Oh, if before I came, what I would have known.
Yeah, or what do you think what do you think if you were going to plan to come to 2020 Edinburgh Festival Fringe?
Yeah.
What would you like to have as an artist that would make it easier for you to function, to reach your audience, to survive?
Okay, this is very material and specific, but the couple things that I would do is I need to get better at finding my audience. Mm-hmm. And that's difficult when you don't know the landscape and you don't know the people. And I didn't realize the extent to which exit flyering and going to gay bars in a harness and giving people your thing, I didn't know any of this was really a thing or that it would help. And I had some shows, like the one last night, where it wasn't really comedy fans or fans who wanted to come to see a weird show about fucking dads and ass eating and whatever. And being peed on and marrying Seth Rogen. And
and this sounds like all the elements that Seth Rogen would bake into a film anyway.
Yeah, except he would make it a cartoon and cast a bunch of untalented straight white people. So,
Ooh,
woo! You hearing this, Seth? No.
What is it?
How big is this podcast?
Huge.
No, don't say it like that. Was that a Trump voice?
I know. No.
Why'd you do that?
I don't know.
All right, well, this has been fun. I'm going to go.
Well, the last time I sat here, we had a very conversation about Cheeto and cheese.
Yeah.
So.
That sounds great as well. I don't know why you didn't have that conversation with me. I'm offended. But to answer your question, I've seen some other shows here where the audience is just ballistic. That's not the right adjective, but you know what I mean. They're so fucking into it.
Yeah.
They're so happy to be there, and they're there for, and it's the weirdest fucking show in the world. And I'm like, oh, well, part of it is because they've been going to Fringe for 9 years and have built that crowd over years.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you just don't, you're at such a disadvantage when it's your first year and nobody knows who you are, and you're just flyering the people that are outside your venue.
Yeah.
Instead of people are seeking that out who are comedy fans and passionate about your specific art. And so that is something that I've learned, that it needs to be very strategic, not about how many people you can get into your show, but who is at your show.
Yeah. There was something I noticed.
And I've had some shows that are like that, and so I know that can happen for me. It's not as consistent.
Yeah. Well, thinking about marketing and promotion, I did notice that there's, I guess, sort of an evolution in your promotion for this piece.
Oh, yeah?
And I was wondering what the thought process is behind that.
What do you mean?
So, you have one flyer where you are wearing leather, but it's a jacket and you're, clothed.
Oh.
versus the flyer here that has like a pink background and the harness.
Yeah.
Which is definitely eye-catching. So you look at that here, and I'm wondering if that's something that's like a specific choice for Edinburgh, or is that something like, oh, this might work. So let's move forward with using this graphic.
No, it was literally, I was cast in a commercial where I got to wear that purple jacket, and I didn't have, the show wasn't even like a thing yet, but I got to do it at a couple different places, and so I just made a poster myself based on that poster from the mattress commercial. And then I got enough money to actually have a photo shoot.
Yeah.
So
'Cause I've definitely been paying attention to that, because it's like, for the signage that we see, there's no description of the piece.
yeah.
So we are basing it on this. So it might be an image of someone's face and the graphic of their show, and that's supposed to be the draw.
Yeah.
If you're walking by it, and it's the sixth time you walk by it, so now it has formed half an impression.
Yeah.
You're still not on the fence about you're still on the fence about going to get tickets, but then you might see it one more time, and it's just wondering, like, I still don't really know what this show's about,
Yeah.
but that graphic keeps pulling me in for some reason.
Yeah.
And I also notice over here, there's a lot of people in, fully dressed in the top and just wearing underpants as like marketing promotion. Or I've seen
I guess
there's
that.
a lot of comedians who are also musicians.
Yeah.
Who are, for the most part, naked behind
Something.
the instruments.
Sure.
And then that's like, you have no idea what my comedy is, but
Yeah.
I'm kind of fit as a comedian, and I wield a guitar. So
Well,
come see this show and see what
Yeah,
happens.
I know. The whole thing is absurd.
Yeah.
Like there's they're called concept photos, right?
Yeah.
Where they're like you have an idea for a whole scene and you try to execute that in the
Yeah.
shoot. And that is not a thing in America. It really isn't. Like how many times you see an album where somebody is like naked behind it? It's just because this festival is so insane.
Yeah. And it's like, are they in the studio naked? They're
Yeah.
gonna be naked on stage?
I know, and like that poster does not represent the show. It's like
Yeah.
a vulnerable queer coming of age story. And yes, but what it does do is it weirds out the people. It should, I think, because I have this hypothesis that I will get back to in a second, but that the people that are weirded out by the handcuffs also won't come to the show, and I think that's good because they won't like the bit about me being peed on and whatever.
Yeah.
But I think what happened is the show got very well rated, and people started. I think maybe people started coming because of that, and didn't even really see the poster, or didn't even read the fucking review, or they read the first line and just saw the star rating from the list, and were like, oh, I'll go see this because a big publication said it was a really good show.
Yeah.
And so I don't even know if that. Yeah. That's I don't know. I mean, that is such an absurd hypothesis, but I said that to my friend the other day, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that's a great point." So I decided to repeat it again.
It's something. It's something to unpack in a postmortem.
In a postmortem, sure.
Yeah, to see what worked, what didn't, and this apparently generated some things. Or
here's the thing: I don't have a postmortem, so you are my postmortem.
I'll let you know. Or I guess maybe the responses, because here, like what a lot of artists who come over from the U.S. understand about being here is that Twitter is heavily used, where in the U.S. Twitter is, we have it, but we try not to engage too much with it because of how much negativity comes out of it. But over here, it's like the lifeblood.
Yeah, it's everything.
Did you tweet about it? You should tweet about it. Could you do me a favor and just do a simple tweet about it?
Yeah.
And then don't forget to retweet us and add us, I'm like, I don't really use my Twitter. It's like all the social media is set up to kind of go back to it and just sort of push it out. But I'm not. You're not talking to me if you're responding to my Twitter, whatever's going on Twitter.
Yeah.
That's just to have more content out there.
No, it is interesting.
Yeah.
And I don't know how popular it is among regular people, or if it's just like an industry thing.
Yeah. Or if some part of the festival has just pushed and promoted.
Yeah.
Twitter and Instagram or things. Anything.
Anyway, I'll retweet you.
Yeah. So, not to rush this off the stage, because you've got a couple of weeks here. But are you thinking about what's next after Edinburgh?
I don't know. I really don't. I mean, I came here. The weird thing about me, and I think a lot of U.S. artists for coming here. Well, U.S. artists, I think, either come here because they have a Netflix special coming out in 2 months, and they want to do the show every day for an hour. Mm-hmm. You can't do that in the U.S. without flying all over the country.
Yeah.
Or you're in a position of me where, like, I am. I have a career back in the States, and I have representation there, and I make money from touring, and I'm trying to like expand my market. Mm-hmm. But the thing is it costs so much money to come here. Like, it's such a big investment that I don't know yet what will come out of this, and I don't know if I will make the investment again, and I have to figure out if it's worth it. Go home yeah, I have people who are interested, and I hope that it does get a life beyond the States. And this show, or developing to my next show, funny enough, it actually helps a little bit. I've gotten producers and agents who it's been very difficult to get in contact with them or get them to come see me back in New York. But now that they're here and it's doing well here, they will come and see the show here. So, you never really know what you get out of this.
Yeah.
And so I want it to continue to have a life. And I loved creating this show. But unfortunately, I have to make money and have a career. And, if this isn't if this isn't the launching pad for my career, that's fine. I have another one in the U.S. So I'm in this weird place where, like, I don't know, and maybe I'll come back here because I had a really great time and I built great relationships and I want to continue those. Mm-hmm. But again, it's a lot of money to do that and a lot of time.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's next. I mean, I know that I still have a couple more months on this writing job for the first season of that show on Bravo. So that's in the immediate. Mm-hmm. Did that answer?
Yeah.
Kind of. I mean, I don't really have a good answer for that.
But that's all right. I mean, we don't have to know what's next.
Yeah.
I mean, because this is a beast in itself. And
yeah.
Who knows? What's next might not reveal itself until 3 days before this ends.
Right.
But how can our listeners connect to you, continue to follow you in your journey with this piece and future pieces here coming? Yeah.
So on Instagram and Twitter, I'm at Samuel H. Morrison. Those are probably the best ways to follow me, but you can also try to find me on Facebook. That's Sam Morrison. I have a page there. And then on my website, samuelmorrison.com, I have a newsletter. I just send out like updates and free tickets when I'm like headlining in New York or Philly. So you can put your email into
Philly's
my
very
website.
comedy friendly.
Philly is very comedy friendly.
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of back and forth of New York comedians to Philly and back.
Cool.
Yeah, and then my show Hello Daddy is at Just the Tonic at I'm losing my voice. Just the Tonic at Marlin's Wine at 5:25 p.m.
Yeah.
every day until the 26th.
There you go. So there's still time. If you're listening to this, you still got a few days to come to Edinburgh. If you're on your way, or maybe you're in Glasgow and not quite here yet, you can make your way in just for the show. It's a 5:25. So come in, get a beer, and sit down for a Hello Daddy.
Yeah.
Samuel Morrison, thank you for chiming in at the end of an interview I had the other day.
Yeah, that was fun.
Because I wouldn't have realized that we were in close proximity to each other.
Sure.
In the States, and we wouldn't have had a conversation that would have steered me to your show that would have prompted this conversation.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing I've really appreciated about this experience, just the networking.
Yeah.
Because even though everyone's out there aggressively trying to get their audience, it does not seem like there is a fight per se. Like,
No.
you're not standing next to a comedian that's like, screw his show, come see mine, vice versa. And we can always recommend other shows. So, with that, can you recommend another show that you've seen or that you enjoy or that you're connected to?
Of course. I will go ahead and... Can I plug two?
Sure.
My friend Zach Zimmerman has a show called Clean Comedy at Gilded Balloon Patter House at 10:45.
10:45? I think I heard you say it yesterday.
Okay, great.
10:45.
Really?
Yeah.
How'd you hear? That's so funny.
I'm on top of this.
Oh my God. Look at that memory. How do you know better than me?
I was sitting right behind him.
Okay. And then my friend Brett Johnson has a really cool show called Polytheist at 125, and I might get these times and dates wrong. Just Google Brett Johnson Edinburgh Fringe and you'll come up. He has a really interesting hour on polytheism, Catholicism, and atheism.
Yeah, cool. Well, I enjoyed being able to capture an hour talking about an hour without actually doing the hour.
Okay, now I shall do my show. Seth Rogen walks in. No, I'm kidding.
As I slowly fade out.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, I guess I'm gonna have to buy a ticket. I guess you will. So yes, if you're here, if you're on your way here, buy 2 tickets because theater is more fun with a +1.
Ooh, sexy.
Whole thing. Samuel Morrison, Hello Daddy. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me, and I think you might be my comedian for my coverage here.
Oh, yay!
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to
Got a
represent
good
the group.
variety. Theater, there's improv. I did see some comedy, but I'm not big enough to have a chat with Phoebe, so...
Oh, I'm sure you are. She's really nice.
I couldn't get press tickets for that one.
I can put you in touch with her.
Well, I already got them. Well, put me in contact with her. I would love that. You heard it here. But yes, thank you so much, and we'll follow your journey too, because New York is a stone's throw away.
It
from
really
Philadelphia.
is.
Yes. All right, thank you so much. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate
Thank
your
you for
time.
having me. This was fun.
Rep Radio continues to be inspired by our community and listeners like you. We are proud to be an Emory production. Visit us online at em3ry.com. Ride with us. Emory is on the move.